Darren Pratley, welcome back to the Marketing for Business podcast.
It's so good to be here, mate.
Mate, I love saying welcome back to people. Like that, it's good to have someone back, and we're gonna have a great chat. We've been trying to do this chat for a while, but we've got it together.
So good to be here.
This chat today, look, it's going to be off the cuff. To be fair, we probably should have recorded the conversation we just had for the last half an hour, because it was fire on some of the things that you're working on, some of the things that we're working on. But the premise here is to the business owners that are listening, the market is changing, and we're going to talk about that today.
Amazingly so. And the best bit I love catching up with you is because as soon as we start talking about what you and I do, all of a sudden there's so much synergy. And I think the learnings and the opportunity in business today is probably never been greater.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I see, but also I think that brings with a lot of confusion into the marketplace.
Yes.
I think if anything, people are probably more confused than ever. Especially when it comes to the areas that we work in, sales, marketing, and building businesses. Like
100%.
That's become, there's so much noise out there. So let's rip into it though.
I want to ask you a question first.
Yeah, cool.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because what I'm hearing a lot is there are lots and lots of businesses out there unsure about where they invest their marketing dollar.
Yeah.
And traditional channels aren't working.
Yeah.
And also because of the digital influence in people's lives, that whole marketing channel now has become, you need some really good specialist knowledge, right?
Yeah, totally. So I always say this, and people will probably sick of me saying it, but you should invest in your marketing strategy first. You should design the marketing strategy to pick the tactics to produce the results you want. And part of that marketing strategy, you should be looking at, or at the top, you should be looking at, what is the message that you want to have, and what is and really get clear on that message. I think it's more important than ever that you have clarity on your message, because there's tools that can amplify this message now. And there's tools that can really get you in front of a lot of people. But if you don't have the cut through of who you are, where you are, what you have to offer, and why people should buy from you, your marketing will fail today because it's too competitive.
Awesome.
So start with that.
Okay, let me ask you how important is it to identify your ideal customer now?
Look, the challenging part, and I was actually talking to a business about this the other day.
Yeah.
I think if you can get your message right, and you know of your ideal customer, and you like, I remember Pete Godfrey was a great copywriter. He always used to say to me, Scott, go walk in his shoes. What's their day like? And I think that's important. But I think it's more understanding the value that you offer to them.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, the technology will find those people lower, and that is the thing. As I said to this guy the other day, I said, he's a painting company. I said, look, we're going to dial in your message, we're going to dial in your offer, but I guarantee you, your job is to have a consistent message, have frequency of reach to become relevant. The technology, though, will make you relevant, because I guarantee, even if they don't know who you are yet, if someone starts looking on social media and starts, trying to find things out using their phone, for painting companies, the algorithm will deliver you to them if you have a marketing presence.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's like the opportunity like that. I don't think people really understand the enormity of that, because that's never been like that before.
And this is the point the point for me out of that, is that you've got to go realize how important it is to have that strategy gap, because the algorithms, the systems, the infrastructure that we have that we play off will actually work out what you need is or what you want is, and give you the content that applies.
Yeah. And so if you can get that right, and you can have the strategy for that, you can really start to grow and market your business really, really well. The challenge, and I did say to this gentleman, the challenge you will also start to see, though, is, it's going to become more competitive, right? So having a strategy will give you the actual areas where you can win, because you're going to know what you're prepared to pay to get a client.
Love it.
You'll know what you're prepared to pay.
Yeah.
And you actually know what it's going to cost you to get a client. And then you can stay in the game a lot longer, because prices will go up. Yes, become more competitive. But if you're more dialed in, you understand the marketing, you understand where you sit in the marketplace, you can win.
I love it. There's so much, and that's those modern twists or modern changes to the area of marketing that not everybody is keeping up with that quickly.
No, no. And I think because people then just go to a tactic.
Yeah.
You know, they get rung up and they get sold. Like one of our clients today is having a conversation with a software company who has been calling them, I would say recklessly, for probably the last month and a half. The guy's got to take the call, but it's the wrong offer. It's the wrong software. It'll actually harm their business. But you know, some people, they're relentless in the way
They sell a product.
yeah, and you only have to go on to Reddit and see the reviews of this product, but the client has to make his own mind up about that. But that is the scary part. Like there's so much coming at business owners. I guess it's why we create this podcast. It's why we have guests on.
Yes.
You know, I want them to be educated, because I do believe in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Yes.
And you know, I'd rather them have an educated or the ability to ask better questions of people that are trying to just sell them stuff, right? So
one of the things I would say to that also is, I think you and me are very privileged in the job that we do, because we get to see so many different industries, so many different business types, so many different environments, where you can start to see the differences between what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
And what comes with your advice is actually the background of, I've seen it, I know it works, and this is where we need to go.
I think that is the thing. Right? Like you were just today here in Christchurch running a workshop with 16 business owners, right? Last week I was in the room with 12 really highly successful business owners. We intentionally put ourselves in those rooms.
Yeah.
And I'm as curious as, one of the first things I started off with was, okay, what are your wins and what are you seeing in the marketplace? Businesses up and down New Zealand, you know, telling me and sharing with us where are they winning and where are they not winning.
Yeah.
And these are big businesses.
How cool is that?
So I think, you know, you're probably the same, right? You intentionally put yourself there to learn, also to help.
Absolutely.
You know, and so you get to know and understand what's going on in the marketplace. And I think that's really, really important, especially when you're giving advice.
100%.
You know, don't give advice if I'm just in this office. Like I'm about to fly to the US. One of the reasons I go to the US is because I want to see what's going on in the world of marketing with the best marketing agencies in the world.
That's it.
I want to know what they're doing. I'm curious because I want my clients to win. I want New Zealand to win. So it's you know, you put yourself in those situations because of that, right?
I love it.
And I think, you know, what are you seeing in the market? What are you seeing change? What are you seeing? Because I know, like, you talk to a lot of people. Like, there's probably not a week go by that you're not on a plane up and down New Zealand. So what are you seeing in the marketplace?
So biggest thing for me is that the market's changing. We've been in a pretty tough time, and I look at New Zealand since, you know, even if you go back to COVID, right? So the journey that we've had out of COVID has been, you know, we had a boom period with lots of money washing around the economy, and then into a marketplace that has been really tough.
Yeah.
And an economic climate where the cost of living, household pressures have been on, which has affected many, many industries.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, with all this change starting to happen, where, you know, many businesses have either gone out of business, or had to get better.
Yeah.
And I think that those learnings really have to be taken to heart, because, you know, these learnings are really what sets our businesses up for future. And I always say, you know, not every business is designed to survive.
No.
You know, the whole idea that every business is going to make it is just a fallacy.
Yeah.
But what you've got to start thinking about is, what are the components that makes businesses more likely to succeed?
Yeah.
And then make sure that they're built into the foundations of your business.
Yes, so true. And the interesting part about it, because the media are so hypersensitive to this at the moment, you're seeing story after story after story of liquidations and stuff.
Totally.
But you know what? I know some stories behind some of those ones, and some of them are just rogue business owners too.
Rogue business owners,
You know?
or also leadership that are still living in the 1980s. That didn't realize that the consumer had moved on and still wanted to transact the way it always had. You know, I mean, I look at some of these environments and I just go, this is old world thinking, where the customer has not only left the building, it's left the suburb, and they're not even in your realm anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing a lot of business owners need to get the grasp around. And it was interesting that you mentioned, you know, I believe we've kind of had that double recession to some
100% agreed.
You know, and because of those factors that you mentioned, and it has been really, really hard for business owners. I think, even talking to a guy this morning in Auckland, There's starting to see some change, and look, I know, look, I live in the deep south here in Christchurch, and every business owner around that table the other day said Christchurch is really, really going well. Actually, the South Island's going really well. We are struggling in areas like Hamilton and Auckland, but we're starting to see some things happening. So, look, if you're a business owner and you're still going, congratulations, because it really has been
tough.
Yeah. And look, we work in an industry with marketing, and like it does say to my staff all the time, hey, like this is, team, we're in a very emotional. People give us money on the hope that we make them more money, and it's very, very emotional. And I think, it's tough. We all wish it was easier. But at the end of the day, you got to deal with the cards you get them. And what can you control in the marketplace? Well, you can control what you can control. And I think that's one of the things I want you just talked about there. There's some components of success that I think some businesses must have that they don't have. So let's go through that and let's set some businesses, owners and companies up for success when it comes to this market and the changing of this market.
Yeah, no,
what a deal, like.
Yeah.
So hold on to your hats, because we're gonna dig into this. And if you agree with us, put some comments on LinkedIn, etc. If you disagree with us, put some comments on LinkedIn, etc. We are open to having this conversation, I guess, with more business owners. So, okay, components of success. Where do you see? I know we talked about a couple of things that you really see.
Yeah. So one of the things for me is, I think if you go down that path, number one for me is leaders in businesses today have to have a much stronger and clearer vision on where they want the business to go. I am still seeing lots and lots of business owners that are still a bit wishy-washy about where they want to take their business. Because, Darren, I'm not sure what's happening in the market. I'm not sure what this change will mean. I know with lower interest rates, it could be better. And all of that indecision just means that the rest of the business is still waiting for a bit of a, it's like having the engine running in the car, but not exactly sure where we're going.
Yeah.
So it's like we've got to get that clarity of vision first.
You have to. I saw a business. I was involved in a business while I was working in corporate. That was a business. Lose $1 million a day because of indecision. And the raw fact is, I actually saw 250 people get made redundant in what we called the chicken shed down in Wordsworth Street. It wasn't even the CEO who caused the issue come down. He sent his 2IC, came down, got rid of everyone, 250 people. I was one of the 20 on the commercial side. So he pointed to us and said, well, you guys are safe, go back to work. But the other 250 people got made redundant, effective immediately. And it was because of indecision. They didn't hedge on the spot price of their electricity market.
There you go.
And it was real indecision by the CEO and the board that led. And so when leaders don't have a strong vision for where the business could go, because if he was shooting on that business at that point, he would have hedged on that market. And he would have taken the upside or a smaller downside on that hedge.
Yeah.
With a strong vision, that company would have been safe. It wasn't.
So here's the thing. So just imagine tomorrow morning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call all your staff in your business into the room. I'm going to get them all to sit down. I'm going to get you as the CEO walk in and give you and your team a clear vision of where we're going to be in a year, 3 years, and what our 5-year plan is. Just that 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year plan. I want you to sit down and explain what your vision is of where you're going to be over that time. Not with just, this is where I think we're going. This is with real ownership about that's where we're going. Right, Miles? Now, just by doing that, you and I both know most business owners in this current market will look at you and me and go, oh, I'm not 100% sure I'm clear on that.
Yep.
So what I say is that's the starting point, because I need that clarity. I need that clarity of vision of where we're going, because once we've got it, you can really start to drive a business.
Okay, so let's break that down then. So what should they be putting into that? Like if what is a business owner, and then on the flip side of that, how does he get them to buy in? He or she get them to buy in. So
well, you think about it. If you're going to go and work for anybody and they say to you, "Look, I'm not exactly sure where the business is going to be in a year's time," how are you feeling?
Yeah. Well, you're going, come on, well, Like,
Like, that's not the place I'm working.
No.
Whereas if you go into a business with somebody, or go into a business to be employed by somebody, and the person goes, what I'd like to do in a year's time is to make sure that this business has a 20% increase in its sales. What I want to do is to have a tighter and more constructive conversation with our customers. I want to know who our top 20% of our customers are and do something special for them. I want to be able to build a plan so that I'm attracting new customers at a younger age group that we can introduce to our business. Now, as a person potentially going to work there, I know that this place has got a vision of where it's going.
So getting clear on what it is that you want,
Yes.
and each of those different areas, like start writing some stuff down. Okay, and here's what it looks like in a year, and here's what it looks like in 3 years, and be a bit more. I've probably given my team the vision of the 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, but I could definitely be more. Look, our leadership team definitely knows. We could probably be more granular in the things like what you just said there. Because we, definitely one of our 3-year mission is 10,000 businesses, helping 10,000 and impacting financially 10,000 businesses. And we are definitely.
What's the scoreboard at the moment? Where are we up to?
Well, we're up
What's the number?
2,500 people.
So is it 2,527? Or is it
and that's
1,000?
Yeah, because that happens daily as well.
100%.
So
you imagine if I'm a team member with that scoreboard up, noticing that in my job, I'm actually increasing that number, helping you on that journey of improving those business. What am I thinking?
And that's the specificity that you're talking about.
100%.
Okay.
Because that drives it. That drives it, right?
We'll be better at that.
Because once we start doing that, we all of a sudden start driving the activity within the business that we start needing. So what I'm going to do is have a really clear vision of where we're going. My second part to that is, what is the individual roles responsibility to that vision? Okay. So if you've got an exec team, could each of those people in the exec team understand those visions and then are now starting to break those down into measurable components that you are now going to put in place?
Yeah.
This is the bit you go, well, if your exec team can't do this, then take a moment, get them offside, you sit them down and go, right, now let's just break this down. So we're starting to see that your exec team is now starting to break down those key visions and start to be able to relay that to their individual departments.
We call them, in our business, we call them a rock. It's like a 90-day rock. It's something that all the leadership team work on. They have one and all that's broken down. That works. Being clear on that works. So absolutely. I want that for every business owner that's listening.
100%. That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And now what happens then is, do you imagine the conversations now that happen between your exec team and let's say your general managers or your leaders of the departments? They really get an understanding that, one, I've got clear vision. 2, my department head is passionate about where we're going, and I understand the components of what they're looking for success now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's a hope for most business owners. You got to turn up anyway, right? You hope that your staff are empowered to come to work, right? Because I always say to people, hey, you've got to come to work. Why not do great work? Why not be empowered to come to work? Why not love what you're doing? And like what you're talking about is adding that spice to the job, so people actually know, hey, there's something going on here. There's a bit more to this place than just turning up and clocking in and clocking out, right?
And sorry, what's our biggest problem with most leaders in business today when they're looking at their teams? Darren, I'm not sure they're engaged. I'm not sure whether they want to be here. Are they actually doing what they should be? And I feel like I have to hold them to account all the time without them being self-accountable.
Yeah. And that's because they don't have any clarity, and exactly. And the people don't have any clarity themselves.
How good is that?
Okay, so okay, we've got clear on the vision, we've got clear on the individuals. What else?
So the next part for me, and this is one of the ones that I guess is really critical for business today. I always look at the top line and go revenue. Look at our revenue line and go, where does that come from? Because within the business that we run, the only reason that we're here is because we have a level of revenue that pays the bills and creates a level of profit for the shareholder, right? Yeah. So the piece for me to get thinking about here is that top line we need to think about growing. And the way we do that is, where do we get that revenue from as our customer?
Yeah.
So one of the things I've seen lately is a lot of businesses have got a bit wobbly on what is their customer or who is their customer. Okay. And also the relationships with their past customers have become fractured.
Yeah. And there's a few reasons for that, and I would agree. One, I don't think loyalty, and I know we talked about this, loyalty is the same as it used to be. I definitely know that. And like, if you're listening to this or watching that, I guarantee if you look at your business, loyalty is probably in some areas is definitely not the same as what it used to be. And I think that's,
Do you want me to give an opinion on that?
yeah, of course.
Well, here's my thought. I reckon you're right.
Yeah.
But I actually think it's more because the businesses haven't shown the loyalty to the customer.
I agree there. No, I definitely agree with that.
What I see today is a lot of the times we changes or things change within businesses or the service offering changes, they do it because it's good for the business. They haven't always considered it from the customer's perspective. So what I do is I'm going to make these changes because it improves my bottom line. But on the other side of the coin, I'm not considering how it affects my customer.
Yeah.
Me as a customer, I start getting a bit grumpy about this stuff because the service proposition that I came to you for is now being played around with or actually non-existent. So now my actual relationship will start to become more focused on the price of the product or the availability of the product.
Yeah, that's so true, right? Like, we probably started as you know, as people looking at how, and this probably got caused because of, you know, COVID and all that sort of stuff. Everyone became very focused in on themselves, right?
100%.
You know, we got told to go home and focus on ourselves. Do you think that's caused, rather than thinking about the customer, everyone's thinking about the bottom line?
Totally. A little bit. But I also think about that we've all of a sudden lost the understanding, because you and I have this debate on a regular basis around technology versus the relationship with customer.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I see some of our younger crew coming through thinking that texting or emailing is actually good enough.
Yes.
And nowadays, what we're starting to realize is you've got to have great tech and you've got to have great systems to run your organization, but you still need to have the ability to engage and hold your customers face to face.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big skill we've lost.
Yeah. And I think it's if you're a business owner and you have that skill, like that soft skill of being able to create relationships and stuff, like, this is a time where you can really, really win. You know, I think it's even more people are craving. And I think that's where live events come back into things, you know. I actually got invited to a pretty cool one today about a hunting and fishing. The company that's doing it's got nothing to do with hunting and fishing, just getting a group of people together about hunting and fishing. And at the end of the day, they sell the technology, but this event's nothing to do with that.
So build a relationship with your customers with topics that they enjoy and how you relate them to your own product.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think also, like, just doing stuff because you want to actually help people.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons we created our business partner networking and mastermind. I just want to be around good business owners.
Yeah.
I want to hear what's going on, but also want to network with them. I want to talk to them. I want to see what they're up to, you know. And you learn a lot just being in that environment, right?
100%.
And it's a win-win because they learn as well. They learn from the other people that you're bringing in and being around. The good news is everyone can do that.
Yep.
You know.
I think probably, and let's just maybe mention that the topic in this area, you're around that customer connection piece or that conversation piece. I've seen, and I think you'll agree, is that we've seen a lot of what I would call the older guard in many of these industry sectors. The old guard that used to do the work that the young guys used to learn off. I mean, I know when I came into the industry sectors that I worked in, there was the older guard that were there to help, there to support, there to hold you a bit accountable, and really taught you how to really enter your role. You know,
Totally.
Whereas I think today, you know, when I look at a lot of the sales environments, even sales management, the training and getting them up to a level of support those new people coming into the sectors can be a bit weak.
Yeah, and that's flowing on, right? Because like, I definitely see it because those people aren't there. And I was talking to some people the other day, probably about a month ago. You know, they're in big building companies and they are missing out on referrals. Referrals aren't flowing as well. And I was talking to one of them about it, and they're like, "Why?" And he goes, "Well, one of the people that owned the company is now retired.
Yes,
and sadly, someone else had passed away, and so that legacy that was." You know, that referral base, that old relationship base is now no longer there. And they were like, what do we do about it? You know, and now they're looking at digital and all that sort of stuff.
Hey, think about this. If you were the customer in that business, right? You dealt with Doug.
Yeah.
Doug was fantastic.
Yeah.
Doug's no longer there.
What
will you do now?
Yeah. No, I don't hear from anyone else.
I don't hear from anyone else. I don't really have a relationship with anyone else. So now my relationship, my buying relationship is now up in the air.
Yeah.
And you know, I truly believe that in 30 years, 35 years of being in business now, I think this environment that we've got right now has more opportunity in it than it's ever had because of that one factor.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, in a part of that sector, there's a lot of money. You know, and you know the industry I'm talking, or the markets I'm talking about, that boomer market,
Massive.
yeah, is a huge market.
Massive.
Yeah.
And you know, many of that boomer market are looking to be able to have lifestyle now. They're looking for opportunities to be able to live out the rest of their days in comfort or excitement or doing the things that they want to do. So there is that opportunity, right? But then the you think of the age groups coming in behind it. You've got a whole nother group that are thinking about, you know, taking shareholdings or buying into businesses where the baby boomers are leaving. And really, do they know what's happening in the business? Are they buying a business that's going to give them that level of security in the future? So, yeah. And then the next group below them, are they managing the business well? Are they looking after the new people coming into their organizations and training them to the level they need?
When you think about, 'cause you just mentioned something, and I've been in the industry a long time, and you've just said you have 30 odd years, and I've probably been 30 odd years in business and been around, and I've seen a few different ups and downs.
Yeah.
Um, do you think we're heading into a good time?
Amazing.
Yeah.
If you truly, if you get your game on now,
Yeah.
and I think you've got to have a level of modern thinking. I think you've got to have a level of investment back in your business to start creating the environments where success is created. I think you also then have to make sure that you understand more clearly about who your customer is,
Yeah.
and then start really getting your internal team
Yeah.
to own that relationship.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the components that you were talking about at the start, you know, like before around that vision,
Yeah.
and really dialing all that comes down a lot to the mindset of the business owner. And I think that's the area too that you have to work on, because success will be created in your mind first. Because otherwise you will miss the opportunity to take advantage to be even more successful.
You gotta.
You know, and I think this is the thing for people, like, don't miss this opportunity. You know, like times, you know, if you've been through that double hit, then realize there's an opportunity coming.
Yeah.
You've got to set yourself up for it.
The big difference I think this time round that we're going to see is the speed and the pace of change. Because you obviously work in this every day, but that technology space right now is meaning that the environment that we play in is changing so much faster than it ever has. So if you don't get on the escalator and keep committing to stepping forward on it, you can very quickly get spat out the back.
Yeah. And I think that's where, hey, if you are smart, like we were just talking about, you know, the quality of lead coming into an organization.
Yes.
If we can make the quality of a lead a better lead, more qualified, then do I need as many salespeople? You know, do I need a team that's big if I'm using more technology in the background? If I've got some other things going on, you know, can I just make it more efficient? And I think that's the interesting part of where we're running into today. You know,
It's the top topics.
where it wasn't before.
Yeah. No, it's the top topic, because everyone's going, okay, if I'm going to refresh this, or if I'm going to change this, what's the new thinking that I need? What's the conversations that we need to have in the organization? And how do we make sure that we build some better systems and better structure to make sure that nothing gets missed in this now? Because you miss opportunities in this space, and it will really make a big dent in your bottom line.
Yeah. And look, that's the truth, right? Like, that is, like, because we've seen it before. When other things started, other technology, other things started to come in. Totally. Like, but at the same time, I think the velocity of this one is different. You know,
Totally so. The upswing, like, you just think about this market shift that we've got. Yes, it's slow and it's gradual, but it is picking up momentum. And the piece on the back of that is that with good businesses creating good impact, I can see lots of industries out there that I would call the top dog or the lead business is actually, like, has some vulnerability because of those that are chasing, who are faster, maybe more nimble, have a clearer vision on where they're going, and they also are very customer focused. And I think that's where, you know, ultimately, I just keep coming back to that customer piece, because if you haven't got a clear plan on that, the rest of your business, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because the customer will not support you.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You got to be really clear who pays your bills, you know, and realize they have a choice. You know, when I said before, you know, where you are, who you are, what you have to offer, and why people should buy from you. Why you know, why you compared to everyone else that's in the marketplace. And if you can hang your hat on why you, and you can get that in front of enough people, you'll win. And then the doubling down of the relationship building is an area that's, you know, I think untapped.
So true.
Mate, this is interesting conversation. Where do you see sales in all of this? Like, what's your I know you're big into relationship building and you're big into understanding what why people do certain things. What about sales? Because I think is it an art that's dying? Do we need salespeople anymore? You know, is AI just going to make us have order takers and we're not going to need them? What's going on?
Can you just think about that conversation? Think about that question you've just asked me, right? So this is the piece, and you're dead right, because things commonly right now, people are going, oh, sales dead, Darren. Is it over? Is this not what we're going to need anymore? But actually you're going, I actually think today that every business needs better salespeople than they ever had. The consumer's more complex. They are more demanding than ever before. They make decisions in different ways, and getting a hold of the customer now can be quite tricky. So you actually need a sales team and a sales process now that is actually more clear and more defined, but also are more adaptable than ever before.
Yeah.
So I look at the environment and I go, yeah, the most businesses, and think about this, there was that old rule that where 20% of a sales team would make 80% of your money.
Totally.
Right? Well, what I see nowadays is it's probably 15% of people are making 80% of the money. And my view is it'll go to 10.
Wow.
Because what we're seeing is
Shift.
it's a massive shift, because though that 10% are not only getting better, they're actually starting to build really good understanding about where to be and when to be with their customer to make that transaction happen. Because they're getting so good at it, they provide a good customer experience. You and me as customers, when we go to buy that widget, whatever it is, who do you want to go and buy it off again?
Yeah.
The person that looked after you.
Yeah. Look, when you're just thinking about that, or what you just said, the best are wanting to get better. And now they're going to leverage technology to get even better. You know, that's why I'm going on the plane, like, because I want to go to see what the best are offering their customers.
Yep.
Because the best I consider, like myself, one of the best, I want to get better because I want to deliver a better service to the customer, a better product to the customer. So you're right. In an industry, if you just consider that, you want to be better. If you're good, or you're you know, someone
Top dog.
They want to get better.
They are. And there's that hunger for that.
And our hunger for that.
In our businesses today, what we're looking for is who are the people that we can take on that journey? Because, you know, as I said, you and I, when we were in our younger days, we had the old guard that would take us on that journey and encourage us through, push us through, right? Whereas nowadays, we sort of got this group that's sort of sitting there in their beanbags on with their skateboard and their free McDonald's and wondering what I do next. And you're like, man, oh man, that was never like that in my day.
Yeah.
And am I sounding off? I don't believe I just said that out
Yeah, I
loud.
think you did.
I did.
But here's the thing. Okay, so let's talk to business owners that want to get better at an environment, because you know, okay, sales is not dead.
No way.
Actually, it's going to become even more and more important. Because one of the things, and I think we talked about this before. Like I used to work at Warren Bond, sold TVs, microwaves, you name it, computers when they came out. I love that. And the reason I was good at it is I would talk to the reps that come in and I would read the brochure. And so when someone came in, I understood what the features of the product. And then I got good at explaining the benefits because I asked the reps. Now, if you walk into a Nolan's or a Harvey Norman, I'd hate to be working there because the consumer walking in the door is more educated than ever. Now, I can take my phone into a transaction now and I can fact check like just about pretty much everything with ChatGPT. I could take a photo of it and tell it to explain the benefits of it to me and what's the best price I should be getting for this thing today. You know, like how does salespeople compete with that?
But the idea is you don't. Like at the end of the day, you and I both know the consumer. You can't stop trying to trick the consumer.
No.
The consumer's got access to so much information now. What we've got to do is create a customer experience at the front of our ship that goes, look, I could walk down the road to XYZ store and buy this product for $50 cheaper. But actually, I want to buy it from this guy because he's bloody good. He's got me a coffee. He's told me the differences between the options. And he's actually said that he'll get that TV delivered. We don't need it.
Yeah. So you're talking about creating a customer experience that other people can't create.
100%.
Nice. I like that.
100%. And that now is sales.
Yeah.
Because you're dead right. I mean, I do a lot of work in the automotive space, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I noticed that nobody goes onto car yards anymore in terms of researching to buy a car.
Yeah.
They do it all online.
Yeah.
They then go and compare different makes and models and prices all around New Zealand using, the online platforms. And then very quickly, as soon as they make their decision, guess where they turn up? At the dealership door, because one, they know they've got the vehicle.
Yeah.
Two, they're now looking to whether they make the buying decision now.
Yeah.
Now, how good is your customer experience component at that moment?
Yeah.
And when I look around most of the industry,
Yeah.
it's weak.
Yeah. So you start thinking about ways you could make your customer experience even better in those, and it's those micro moments, right? It's not like you have to roll out a red carpet every time someone comes on, but what are those micro moments that you can correct? Because it is an interesting thing. I bought a watch recently, and I knew that the store had the watch because you can go online and you can have a look and you can see everything that's there, blah, 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 blah. So you're right. People look at your own buying habits, right? You actually go and find out if the thing's there. And then if it's at a certain price point, I guess that you buy it. But if it's not, then you want some.
Well, you'll make a value proposition adjustment at that point. Do I feel like that? If I've got a relationship with a store that I've bought watches there before, and the guy goes, "Hey, it's so good to see you."
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I know you're buying this one, but I thought I'd show you this one over here because this one's coming in next month.
Yeah.
Like you start to go, I own that relationship.
Yeah.
And that's the piece now that it's so critical. I just go into businesses and go, leaders of business, CEOs, just walk into your own business and try and buy your product.
Yeah.
You will be amazed at probably what you get. What you thought you should get versus what you didn't get. And you will be very quickly realizing that that's what you and me as customers are experiencing when we try to engage with that business.
Okay, so I like what you said there about owning the relationship. Let's give people some practical ways that they could start thinking about this. And let's use a car yard for an example.
Yep.
What are some practical ways that your people could start owning this?
Number one is to build credibility. So what you've got to do is your salespeople have to build credibility in the eye of the customer. So I've been working in automotive for the last 15 years. I have been selling this brand for 10 years. I have sold 27 cars last month. I know this brand exceptionally well. I want to do a fact find with you to understand what your need is, but I'll use my experience to be able to make sure that you're buying the right car.
Yep, brilliant. Because once all of a sudden build credibility, but I'm actually going to find out if that credibility is actually worth it to you.
You got it.
Nice.
Number two, reliability.
Reliability.
Talk to your customers when they don't need your product.
Yes.
So one of the things that I say is if you want to hold a relationship with a customer, number two is you've got to be able to hold reliability and that you hold the relationship when they don't need your product. How many times have you bought a watch, bought a car, bought a TV, and you walk out of the store and that is the last time you hear from their business? It does my head in. And considering nowadays we've got the technology that allows us to send a message a day or three after you've received the product to say, I just wanted to check, make sure everything's okay. We really enjoyed you as a customer, and is it anything we do in the future, let us know. Like, how simple is that? And how many of those do you get?
Yeah. None.
Sorry, what was that?
None.
No, we'll say it again.
Yeah, no. I tell you one of the things we do. I don't know yell share this. We send macaroons.
Love it.
To our clients, right?
Love it.
And just like random at times, get everyone to write a card, love us in the card. And the feedback we get from that is just so cool, just little, and they're beautiful macarons, I should say. They're beautiful, they're tasty. And it's just those little touches that you can just, because we care about our clients, we want them to know that we're thinking of them,
So I always go, that's reliability. And as long as you're connecting with customers that don't need your service at the moment as well, and then you're doing a great job.
I like what you said about that. Talk to them clients when they don't need your product.
Yeah.
And that's a good one. That's a like, oh, okay.
Number three.
Yeah, number three.
Number three is your ability to be able to create intimate conversations.
Okay.
So I just sort of thought I'd give you a call. I know you bought a car from us last year. I just basically want to, how you enjoying the car? How you feel driving it?
Yeah, nice.
So it's about the feel component.
Yeah.
Hey, you haven't, like, you buy a car from us every 3 years. I just thought, I noticed you haven't bought a car from us this year. I just thought I'd check out. Is everything okay? How are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
What did I say? How are you?
Yeah. And how does it feel?
Yeah.
That's such a good, and look, I know like this sounds really simple.
No, it's,
The fact is, it's actually is simple if you do it, but it's getting people to do it. And this is a thing. I think this is the thing and when you think about it, like, because, people can research up, they can find what the mileage rate is, they can find out that's gas, they can see if it's EV, all this sort of stuff. They can find out all of that stuff.
yes.
But it's that personal touch that makes the difference.
And that's modern sales.
Yeah.
That is the modern sales. It's not volume. It's not clicks. It's not creating as much volume in the market. It's actually about owning each one of those relationships. So the important part here is that intimacy of being able to have a conversation with a customer about how they're feeling, what's happening in their world, really. Look, it sounds like you've had a really tough year in the business and that you're not going to be buying a car till next year. So I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to ring you in February just to let you know what models are coming in next year. There's no need to buy. All I just want to do is keep you informed about what's coming.
Yeah.
And, if there's something that we can do or get you more information or a color spec or whatever, you know who to ring.
Yeah. And then that's just keeping you then top of mind, and really, having that conversation, because that's what I think that's, people, that's what a good friend would do, right? They would see how they're going.
Okay. You think about what you've just done there. Build credibility, build reliability.
Yep.
And build an intimacy of conversation.
Yep.
Do you know what we've just created there?
Yeah. Trust. Yeah. Yeah. And then the good thing about it, people buy from people they know, like, and trust, right? Ta-da. Yeah. Ta-da. Ta-da. But it's not, it's harder in my industry. I sell.
I'm not sure
I sell vacuum cleaners. It's harder in my industry, Darren.
Sorry, how many houses have vacuum cleaners?
You don't understand my industry.
And you'll start having that conversation with me. It's how to get you very quickly.
But that's the thing. People will go, oh, it's my industry's different, And so that brings back to my conversation around mindset.
Yes.
We got to sharpen the mindset. And if we're a leader in the business, I think this is the thing that you need to invest in your team. Invest in your team and their mindset. Like, really get them thinking they can run in this economy.
So here's a good, I just want to give you this example. And this one, it makes me chuckle, to be honest. Like, I'll have people ring me up and say, Darren, you're good at what you do. Look, we're interested in having you come do some work with our team. I'll send through a proposal, right? And they send me, oh, you're quite expensive. Not sure whether the budget for that. And then I'll say, okay, it's understandable, but, happy to work in as best we can. But the thing that I look at is go, if I could just get that sales team to just do one more sale a quarter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You've afforded 3 of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And if we just work with your exec team and get them to be able to just lift the vision and motivation of our team and get our teams just to do 10% more, where are we now? And it's that investment, and it's taking that time to put a little bit of pressure on our environments to go, we're investing to change the result.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a mindset, right? Like, you've got to invest, you've got to invest in your people, and you've got to invest. And at the end of the day, if you want to stay the same, you don't have to invest anything, right? But if you want to grow, because the market's going to move. We've had this period of time where it's been tough and hard and blah, 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 blah. The market is moving.
How quickly?
Yes.
And so quickly, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't move,
what
happens?
Yeah, well, you get left behind.
Quickly.
And the thing is, good people will start to lead as well. They'll go, you know what? Oh, I'm not on this. I want to be where the money's going, and I want to be on that train.
100%.
I don't want to be on your train anymore, because you're not investing in me. You're not investing in people. You're not investing. And I think that's the thing. When you look at, okay, And I will say to this, like if when someone puts something in front of you, at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, how much do I back myself? You know, as a business owner or as a leader in a business.
Well, you're not in that role unless unless you're committing to you can.
Yeah.
There's no point. There's no point being in this market. Like I had someone the other day say to me, Darren, look, I've been offered a job, pays $100,000, company car, cell phone, and a laptop provided.
Yeah.
I think about taking that job from a commission role, right? So this is a commission only role they're in now. I said, how much have you earned so far for half the year? He said, well, I've earned about $70,000, right, for half the year
On commission.
on commission. So I said, well, if you keep going on that basis, and let's say we can just improve things a bit, let's just say we do what we did in the first half, you've now won 40.
Yeah.
So you've actually earned more than you would have as an employee. But just have a think about it as the employed job, what time do you have to start? Oh, 8 o'clock in the morning. What time would you have to still be there? 6 o'clock at night. You'd be driving a car you don't really like.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of a sudden, this guy goes, you're right.
Yeah.
I've just now got to really reset my mindset to get thinking about what creates the success and not looking always for that easy option. It's sometimes we've got to make that change. And as you say, that mindset piece is so critical.
Yeah. I like the thinking of that though, like challenging someone, because the easy option is, hey, company car, all that sort of stuff.
Totally.
But at the same time, like pretty much doing that same, and what if you just increase that? What if you put some more fire under that? What do you do?
Stayed.
Nice. I like that.
But because that's what he realised. He was like, you know what? I'm doing an okay job, but I know I could be better. So if you could be better, then let's just be better.
Yeah.
And let's just create that result. Because once we're creating that result, now what happens?
Yeah. Oh, and you start to look at the things you could do that you're not doing to be better.
Now we're 200.
Yeah, and now we're like, oh, okay, cool. Oh, and actually, maybe now we can actually be even better. Maybe we can hire someone in to do the stuff that we don't want to do, and we can be even better. Maybe we use some technology to help us and be even better. And all of a sudden, we're going, hey,
What trade are we on now?
what train are we on now? And we start looking at different cars of different watches. Or in your case, different shoes. Okay, so the market's changing. The market is changing,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like so sales. What I heard there is, you've really got to get focused.
Yes.
And
And I think the sales culture within your business sometimes needs realigning. I think we need to get back to what is the purpose of sales again. Sales is the revenue generation department of a business. That's their job to make. I mean, I go into some sales environments, mate, and I say, like, give me a look at your calling program. How are we connecting with customers? How are we building those relationships? And the calling numbers are just, terrible. And I just go, we've gone away from, or there's a fear of making those calls.
Yes.
And I'm just like, we've got to get back to actually what drives real success for these businesses.
I think the big thing I took away from that conversation, though, and you said it a number of times now, is so flip the mindset around to owning that relationship. Like really owns the relationship.
That's mine. Sales.
Really, like, don't just see it as, you own that relationship. They are yours. That's your people to own, and own that relationship, and then foster and nurture and build that trust within inside them. Because, if you don't, you're not going to win.
Well, the relationship then goes back into the marketplace to be won by generally the person who does it the cheapest or has stock available right now.
Yeah, and I think that's to the point that you make. Like loyalty
Is it?
is earned, and that's the key to owning that relationship. If loyalty is earned by because you've owned that relationship, you're away. And not only you're away, what I love about good people was when you deal with good people. We had a lady in here today, lovely lady, got referred by another client, and she's about to refer. Well, no, she just referred a client. She's about to refer another one. Good people, when you do good work for them and you hold that relationship with them, they refer, other good people towards your business as well, which is fantastic.
Well, now you've got a business that's growing, right?
Yeah.
Now you've got a customer base that's growing. Now you've got an environment that's so cool.
Own that relationship. Love it. Man, this has been like fire. We've been going 50 minutes. I don't even think we've stopped. What else should we talk about? What else is important to business owners?
I've got one more topic.
Oh, yeah.
So about what we've talked about, like we've probably come up there with probably 10 to 12 really practical ideas that actually will change somebody who's watching this, change their business tomorrow. If there's one if. So at the start of every presentation I've done for 10 years, I put the word implementation up on the screen. So the very first slide that I put up at every presentation is implementation. Because you know what? All this conversation, all those absolutely game-changing insights that we've given there are worth nothing unless you actually build a practical implementation. And that's the bit that I notice with your business. You are very good at being clear on where your business is going, and then you make sure that the implementation of those happen.
And I'm ruthless when it comes to, like, I learned a long time ago, and I think someone just said to me, Scott, you talk a lot. You need to implement more. And at that time, I talked a lot, and I was talking a lot, and I was a lot younger, and I wasn't implementing as much as I did. And someone said to me, hey, you need to stop talking as much and implement more. And I really took it to heart, and I was like, you know what? And it's something went inside my head. Knowledge is power, but action is the key to your dreams. And I wrote it in a book that I was in, and I really took it to heart, because I was like, I don't want to be this guy. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that person that just freaking talks.
Like every day, I'm somewhere in New Zealand, sitting in a room, having a chat to people, and I look at these people and I go, you know what? You have got so much talent.
Yes.
You are like about 150% better than I ever was. You are amazing at your product knowledge. You're technically really strong. You've got great people skills, and you couldn't sell your way out of a wet paper bag.
So how do you help people implement because I think I'd always say to people at the start of my presentations, hey, we're going to find one thing that you're going to take away and implement, right? And then I say at the end, hey, by the way, you did come here for a warm, fuzzy feeling. Otherwise, if you wanted a warm, fuzzy feeling, you could have bought a wetsuit and done what you know, I don't know, right? So I want let's help people implement, because it is the difference, right? Like, how do people, take the idea that they've come up with today and the things that you've given them, like, how do they implement? Because it is so key.
Yes. My biggest thing is to make it more visual in your environment. So I'm a real big fan of a whiteboard. Like, you've got whiteboards up, like the ability to do a whiteboard and go, okay, let's just write down what our target or what our goal is, and get that up on the whiteboard. Then break it down into some key steps. And then all you do is you just put the time frame beside those of exactly when you want those done by. Now, what you've done is you've actually given yourself some action items with a time frame. And then the only part you've got to do off the back of that is to build an accountability component to it, so that you've got somebody see, a lot of people use me, especially at senior levels of business, to create an external accountability piece. So I come into many businesses, and they'll hire me in to go and have conversations with different sectors of business. Because I'm not tied into the business, I don't carry all those personal relationships or the baggage that goes with that. Sometimes is I can come in and go, so tell me what we're doing here. Why are we doing this? What are we up to here? You said that 3 months ago you'd have this done. This doesn't even look like we're halfway there. Why not? Where are we at? And just to have those accountability conversations, because what you've done is broken down the actions. Now, if you've got a sense of accountability coming in behind it, most environments will actually implement mildly well.
I thought of something there, because that's maybe you can put more pressure on yourself. Okay, go get a whiteboard. Go down to the warehouse stationery, buy a whiteboard, or buy a flip chart, and then write down what it is that you want and what you've got to do. So the list of those action items, and then go put it somewhere where the rest of your team can see.
Totally.
And when the team asks, what's this? Well, this is what we're doing the next 90 days. This is what we're doing for this month. And get them involved in it.
One of my CEOs has it on a whiteboard in his office, the departments, what their target number is and where they're at so far for the week against their target. Now, he just updates it each morning. So, during the day, there'll be meetings, there'll be the odd casual walk-ins, and how was the weekend, and did you watch the rugby? All his team that come in, what do they notice?
Yeah, they can see what's going on
across the business, and he's tracking that, right? So that naturally brings a level of accountability.
Yeah.
So now what you've got is clear vision about where we're going. We've broken it down into the steps. We've got the insights we know that'll change our result. And now we're actually doing the things that actually give us the deliverables with the sense of, if we don't, there has to be a level of either consequence or at least uncomfortable conversation
Yeah.
to go, actually, let's get us back on track.
Yeah. 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 So making accountability more visual, that's why making implementation more visible, which leads to a more visual accountability.
So I use the word,
like
I use the word accountability equals care.
Nice.
Right? If I don't have accountability in a business, it would just mean that I actually don't really care about the result, and I don't really care about the team.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, whatever you do, if I don't really care about it, then I'm not going to hold you accountable. And a lot of businesses at the moment I'm seeing are very nervous about that sense of accountability, because they go, well, actually, the people might not like it and they might leave.
Like that's that's a conversation that people are probably having.
Do you know what the worst thing is?
They could stay.
They might stay, right? And that's the piece, is we want people who are understanding that there's some responsibility, there's a learning process here. I know that sometimes that the vision or the plan or the tasks, the implementation of those might be really tough and we might not make it. But at the end of the day, isn't that a learning moment that helps us reset and go again in the next quarter?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the thing, that you, like business owners, you have to be prepared for some people to walk away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as you say, use it as a learning, because there's other people out there that'll want that and crave that.
100%.
You know,
And isn't that the way you grow business?
and also there's probably people that you think might not like it, will like it, and have been waiting for you to make that change.
Oh my goodness. I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Darren, this is the first time that I've been able to get some support about my role and realize the things that I need to change.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm making real progress now. Thank you so much. And that was because you cared.
Yeah. It must be a breath of fresh air for people to have someone come in with your experience and obviously shine that torch a little bit on what they can be, and hold that light up for them. And especially in, like, it's to be fair, and I kind of like the tough times.
Yeah.
Maybe more than the easier times, because I've seen the easier times, and I've seen it in that. And when I was working in corporate, we were given credit cards and we had to spend X amount of money because that's, and if you hadn't spent that money that next month, they were like, why didn't you spend? Why didn't you? There was some excess happening. And like, to me, it was kind of a bit, where the tougher times I do like, because there's less competitors, and
Totally.
there's more competition in times of good.
Absolutely. But you also, this is, coming out of tougher times, is those are the things that we should have learned. Those are the things that we've got to carry forward, and that will become really strong components for our success in the future.
Yeah. Fascinating times we're actually in, right? Because, even like when I wrote a post on LinkedIn today about the AI bubble, and is there an AI bubble? And, there's a whole bunch of factors that say there could be, but there's some other factors that say that, well, actually, the things that happened in the .com, some of those things are lining up, and over, some overhyped valuations, and there's definitely greed in the marketplace. But the biggest thing, the difference is the interest rates were high at the time of when the .com burst, and interest rates are now going the other way.
Right.
So more money is going to flood into that market, and it's a real interesting time that we're living in. And some of these tech companies are actually making money. They're not just not making any money.
But also, that's the nature of the nature of any cycles, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've always see this new technology. Price goes through the roof. Next minute, everyone realizes it's just a technology that everyone now has.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to people now about ChatGPT, and put up your hand in the room now if you've got ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Most hands go up.
Yeah, totally.
Most people, and the more they use it, the more they learn about it, the more it becomes, remember a year ago, universities and schools were saying, you can't use it, it's cheating.
Yeah.
Now my son has got it, just in class as a tool to use.
Yeah. The I guess the scaredness of it.
Yep.
Always cracks me up. Not that I watch the news, but people were telling me, it's been on the news again, and cool, great. But like,
it's just the evolution
of technology being used, and then those technologies are getting superseded really, really fast.
Totally.
By other ones as well, which is leading to some great opportunities for, for business owners too, which, like you just have to stay on the pace. Mate, exciting. I really appreciate you coming in. Is there anything else you think we should talk about, or we've been going for an hour? Should we wrap this one up, or?
No, look, I just go with those sort of principles. If you, well, for me, I'd say listen to that podcast again.
Yeah.
Listen to it twice, and just then go, okay, out of that, what are the key components that we could go, right, in our business tomorrow, we could implement this. Just make that a task. Get a whiteboard, put it up, talk to your management team, talk to your leaders of your business, and say, how can you help me take this forward?
Yeah.
And you watch what starts to change.
Yeah, put a challenge out to yourself. Like, you listen to this. This will come out early November, probably. We'll move this one up because I think it's important. And then go, okay, listen to it twice, get your whiteboard, talk to your team, and then really start to put some things in place for, and start now. This is what I talked to my group the other day. Start now for 2026.
Love it.
Get the jump on the marketplace, because here's the thing. Everyone will come back from holiday in New Zealand like they do at the end of January and then go, right, let's go. But if you can start now in November, December, then you can look forward versus people will start to look back, like really, really start to put this in place. You'll get a jump on the marketplace. And I see it every year. But I think I'll see it even more this year, because there'll be a few people just go, oh, I'm going to take a bit longer because I've just had a hard year.
I'm actually hearing a bit the other way, that I'm starting to hear a few people saying they're going to come back earlier.
Yeah. Well, if they're smart and they've been talking to you, of course, then they're going to do it, right?
Well, because there is this bow wave of opportunity coming, and if you don't get on it, you're going to spend the rest of next year swimming pretty hard to catch up.
And I think that's the key. Opportunity is coming, so get whatever skills or get the people around you that you need to make sure you make it happen. And I love it. Like, implementation is the key. Knowledge is power, but action is the key to my dreams. It really is the difference maker. All these ideas are great, but at the end of the day, if you don't,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? Like, you're actually talking too much. And that was the thing that everybody needs to turn the eyes. Like, seriously, I remember
a low way line.
I remember the guy, and I remember it just. I'm glad he said it. I remember thinking about it, and then realizing he was right, which was a bitter pill, but one that's paid me millions. So
cool.
God bless. Awesome, man. Appreciate you coming in.
So good to be here. Great to see you, right?
No, this has been great having you back. And look, delivering. Good to see you here. Look, what can I say? You need to share this podcast. Like, you can't just listen to this and not share this. Like, this has been gold. This is what's happening in the marketplace. We recorded this in mid-October 2025. It's going to come out in November 2025. Let's see who was right. Let's see who is going to take advantage of this marketplace in 2026 and beyond. If Darren's right, if I'm right, we're going to live in a time that's good for everyone, but definitely better for the action takers. So share the podcast. We'll talk to you really soon. Go out there, make sure you have some fun, and as always, celebrate your victories.
Thanks very much, everyone.